This is the Sabbath School lesson for the third quarter, 2021.
Lesson 2 from the series Rest in Christ is titled Restless and Rebellious, ready for teaching on July 10, and I'm Percy Harrold. Thursday, July 8. Faith versus Presumption. What similarities do you see in Israel's wanderings in the wilderness and God's people living just prior to the second coming of Jesus? Let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 1 to 11. Moreover, brethren, I do not want you to be unaware that all your fathers were under the cloud, all passed through the sea, all were baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea, all ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. But with most of them God was not well pleased, for their bodies were scattered in the wilderness. Now these things became our examples, to the intent that we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. And do not become idolaters, as were some of them. As it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Nor let us commit sexual immorality, as some of them did, and in one day 23,000 fell. Nor let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted, and were destroyed by serpents. Nor complain, as some of them also complained, and were destroyed by the destroyer. Now all these things happened to them as examples, and they were written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the ages have come. Throughout history, God's people have been roaming in the wilderness as they seek the promised land. This wilderness has many faces. Right now, it looks like an endless media barrage, the constant beeps of incoming messages and the deep roar of interminable entertainment. It tries to sell us pornography as love and materialism as the answer to our problems. If we just could be a bit fitter, a bit younger, a bit more affluent, a bit sexier, that would take care of all our problems. Like the Israelites, we are restless in our search for peace, and so often we look for it in the wrong places. How did the Israelites react to God's judgment in Numbers 14, 39 to 45? Then Moses told these words to all the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. And they rose early in the morning and went up to the top of the mountain, saying, Here we are, and we will go up to the place which the Lord has promised, for we have sinned. And Moses said, Now why do you transgress the command of the Lord? For this will not succeed. Do not go up, lest you be defeated by your enemies, for the Lord is not among you. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and you shall fall by the sword. Because you have turned away from the Lord will not be with you. But they presumed to go up to the mountaintop. Nevertheless, neither the ark of the covenant of the Lord nor Moses departed from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who dwelt in that mountain came down and attacked them, and drove them back as far as Hormah. Israel's reaction to the divine judgment is typical. We have sinned, they said. We will go up to the place which the Lord has promised, in verse 40. Half-hearted commitment is like a poorly administered vaccination. It doesn't work. Today, doctors recommend a hepatitis B vaccination right after birth within the first 24 hours of life. That's a good beginning. However, following that first shot, if there are not 2 or 3 booster vaccinations administered at the right times and in the right doses, then there is no protection against hepatitis B whatsoever. Israel's rebellious turnaround, reported in the last verses of Numbers 14, results in death and disappointment as the Israelites now refuse to accept God's new direction and stubbornly launch an attack without the Ark of the Covenant or Moses' leadership. Presumption is costly. Presumption leads to death. Very often, presumption is powered by fear. Because we are afraid of something, we make decisions that we later regret. And so to finish the day, think about a time you acted on faith and a time you acted on presumption. What was the crucial difference? This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. It's supported by the Sabbath School Department and Hope Channel Australia and is rebroadcast by Christian Record Services and through podcasts at It Is Written in the United States, Hope Channel Germany, and through Apple iTunes and SoundCloud. Remember, God is always faithful.